Thomas Edison used his access to the railroad to conduct chemical experiments in a small laboratory he set up in a train. During one of his experiments, a chemical fire started and the train caught fire. The conductor rushed in and struck Edison on the side of the head, probably furthering some of his hearing loss. The Spanish language has a rich and complicated history. It has navigated the rise and fall of great empires, has been a symbol of cultural identity, and has both been used as a tool of unity and caused considerable divisiveness. Today, it is the world's second most spoken native language and is used by people in all corners of the globe. The American Cancer Society recommends following a healthy eating pattern at all ages. A new school year is the perfect time to try some healthier options for your child. Whether you're packing a lunchbox or making lunch at the kitchen counter, you can ensure they're eating healthy food that tastes good. Stars are the most widely recognized astronomical objects, and represent the most fundamental building blocks of galaxies. The age and composition of the stars in a galaxy trace the dynamics and evolution of that galaxy. Consequently, the study of the birth, life, and death of stars is central to the field of astronomy. If you live in a city, you may take your skyline for granted, but let me remind you how cool it is. Skyscrapers are amazing feats of engineering and a testament to humankind's progress. What's more, skylines offer an array of architectural styles, as cities certainly weren't built in a day. Engineering requires many building blocks and tools. To produce real-world results, one must practically apply mathematics and sciences to tangible problems and scenarios. Included in this category are the various technical topics which cut across engineering disciplines, encompassing many branches of mathematics and scientific disciplines. Feed crops are grown and harvested to feed livestock like cows and horses. Also known as animal feed, these crops can be grown and harvested like food crops. They can also be grown in large fields where animals can graze for the food. Feed crops are typically engineered to meet the livestock's specific nutritional needs. Cotton plants native to Mexico may all look the same: unkempt and untamed bushes with flowers that shift from pale yellow to violet as pollinators visit them. But genes from genetically modified cotton crops have made some of these native plants fundamentally different, changing their biology and the way they interact with insects. Flooding is already the most common natural disaster in the United States, occurring in every state and killing more people each year than hurricanes, tornadoes, or lightning. As warming drives sea levels higher and intensifies hurricanes, more residents should expect to deal with flooding. After the coldest night in South Florida in a decade, lizards were dropping out of palm trees, landing legs up. The scientists who raced to investigate the fallen reptiles have now found that, despite such graceless falls, some of these tropical, cold-blooded creatures are actually more resilient to cold than previously thought. Scientists already knew that the output of a single wind turbine could be improved with a windbreak. While windbreaks slow wind speed close to the ground, above the height of the windbreak, wind speeds actually increase as air rushes over the top. But for large wind farms, there's a drawback. To bridge gaps between teams, one tactic is to set aside more of the office to showcase the work of each department, so that people who never encounter each other on Zoom can see examples of what their colleagues do. Another option is to ply everyone with drink. Expect more space to be set aside for socializing and events. Today's global food system is responsible for around a third of greenhouse gas emissions, and meat production is one of the biggest culprits. Despite this environmental impact, meat eating is on the rise. Plant-based and lab-grown alternatives can convert carnivores away from conventional meat and reduce emissions. The amount of sunlight that Earth reflects back into space has decreased measurably in recent years. Whether the decline in Earthshine is a short-term blip or yet another ominous sign for Earth's climate is up in the air, scientists suggest. When a male African savanna elephant folds his ears while simultaneously waving them, he's ready for a fight. When a female folds her ears and accompanies the action with an ear flap, that means she's also issuing a serious threat. But when elephants come together and fold their ears, the animals are expressing a warm greeting. Many scholars attribute the 17th century belief that animals were mere machines devoid of fear, pain, or pleasure to the French mathematician, philosopher and scientist. Animals' feelings, even if present, were morally irrelevant to Descartes, who attempted to prove his point by subjecting dogs and rabbits to exquisite torture. When learning a foreign language, most people fall back on traditional methods: reading, writing, listening and repeating. But if you also gesture with your arms while studying, you can remember the vocabulary better, even months later. Linking a word to brain areas responsible for movement strengthens the memory of its meaning. Every metric ton of carbon dioxide humans emit comes at a cost, not only in terms of the financial toll of the damage wrought by floods, heat waves and droughts, but also the price in human lives. Substantially curtailing emissions today could prevent tens of millions of premature deaths over the course of this century. A diamond that formed deep in the Earth's mantle contains a mineral never seen before in nature. The discovery is a rare glimpse into the deep mantle and may help reveal new information about the structure of the planet at depths of more than 660 kilometers. This can help geologists better understand how the mantle controls the Earth's plate tectonics. If a single medical objective could be applied to the entire range of cancers, it would be detecting the disease as soon as possible at the highest level. Finding any cancer early gives you the opportunity for curative treatments, says the CEO of a research funding organization. Residential density is related to children's motor skills, engagement in outdoor play and organized sports. Finnish children living in the countryside spent more time outdoors and had better motor skills than their age peers in the metropolitan area. On the other hand, children living in the metropolitan area participated the most in organized sports. At the Fine Arts Department, we place dual emphasis on studio art and art history, and are dedicated to the exploration of contemporary art while promoting traditional Chinese art and culture. Our department has been a strategic base for training up artists and art historians, and has made significant contribution to the field of art nationally and internationally. A dead language may still be studied through recordings or writings, but it is still dead or extinct unless there are fluent speakers. Although languages have always become extinct throughout human history, they are currently dying at an accelerated rate because of globalization. Many projects are underway aimed at preventing or slowing language loss. This unit provides a practical and theoretical introduction to what it means to be an IT professional today. Students will encounter a range of issues relevant to professional practice in the workplace, as well as an understanding professionals are called upon to uphold in society. The wider responsibilities that professionals are called upon to uphold in society. There are many benefits to bilingualism and exposure to multiple languages. Children who learn multiple languages learn to be sensitive to their conversation partners. They make word and language choices based on their knowledge of others. These are sophisticated social decisions that show advanced social skills. Hydropower is one of the renewable energies. In the past, hydropower was used for simple purposes by building a water wheel on a watercourse and using it to drive a mill or machine. Today this is how it works. The kinetic energy of the flowing water is converted into the mechanical energy of the turbine, which is converted into electrical energy, electricity for short, in a generator. Australia has a proud modern immigration history. Government discrimination has been banished, replaced by a skills-based system generating unparalleled economic gain for Australia. Creating an environment where innovation can thrive depends on immigration. With a population where 1 in 4 people are born overseas, Australia is already well positioned to kickstart a new period of growth. Interdisciplinarity refers to a method that merges traditional educational concepts in order to arrive at new approaches. It is an increasingly important concept within both academic research and the private sector. More than just pasting together different subjects, interdisciplinary work is the process of developing an integration of methods that are traditionally thought of as separate fields. Relatively soon, some prominent astrobiologists say, we will most likely have either found compelling evidence for extraterrestrial life or banished its possible existence to the ever-shrinking edges of the cosmos beyond the rapidly expanding reach of our observations. Such answers could come by the end of the century from any of a number of initiatives ardently seeking alien life. Cancer is most treatable when caught early. But despite the vast resources aimed at finding ways to detect the disease in its initial stages, many people who qualify for existing screenings still do not receive them. Some are unfamiliar with the constantly evolving guidelines on when and where to get tested. Others have never been informed that they need exams in the first place.